Good evening, Glasgow. I'm Jamie, and welcome back to Under the Radar, the show where we shine a light on artists you might not have discovered yet. Last time out, we explored a mix of rising names, local talent, and a few bands that deserve far more attention than they get, which is the sort of premise and whole point of the show. And tonight, we're doing it all over again. If you were here last week, you know that we like to start softer and gradually turn things up and build intensity as the night goes on. And we're going to try and repeat that again today as best as possible. If this is your first time listening in, or you were here last week, stay tuned. We've got an hour of songs ahead, and I think with that being said, let's not waste any more time and let's get straight into things. If you were here last week, you will know that somewhere around the midpoint of the show we done a spotlight on two local artists, those being New Shapes and Sixth Wonder, and we're going to start the show off today kind of in the same sort of manner as that with another local artist by the name of Niamh Morris. Now, Niamh is an alternative pop singer-songwriter from Bells Hill. She began with classical piano and guitar before later on going to study music at New College Lanarkshire in Motherwell, which is the same college as a certain Lewis Capaldi, who last time I checked is doing pretty well for himself. Lewis once visited the campus again and sort of gave what I'm assuming was a guest lecturer to meet the students, answer questions about his time there and whatever else, which inspired Niamh's first song, which was called Beautiful Lies, which is launched out with a sold headline show in Glasgow. Now, Niamh is known for her relatable lyrics and emotive performances. In 2023, she toured with her second single, Friend Zone Problems, which included a stop at Liverpool's Cavern Club. Since then, she's played venues like King Tut's, St Luke's, and SWG3 Galvanisers, where she opened for The Silencers to over 1,000 people. The song I'm about to play from her is one of her more recent singles. It came out in April of 2025. This is Niamh Morris with Spin-Off Show.
We used to get coffee, now it's not the same. Whenever I go, they don't remember my name. We used to have coffee, now it's such a shame. I guess we don't fit in one photo, one frame. Not saying there's blame, but I know fine well it's not on me. A shift in the way the characters act in the movie on the big screen. What a low blow. You wrote the scenes where you tossed me aside like I'm your old clothes. The final hello. Woke up one morning and found myself stuck in the spin-off show. Hey, are you listening to what I just said? Trust out the window just like an old trend. So many warnings and letters unsent. What was it all for? The time that we spent. One more argument, but still I know fine well it's not on me. A 180 bend. Stories unraveling in this movie on a big screen. What a low blow. You wrote the scenes where you tossed me aside like I'm your old clothes. The final hello. Woke up one morning and found myself stuck in the spin-off show. Would you tell me the truth? Would you tell me a lie if I asked you to either confirm or deny? Honestly, I didn't know you were the type. I guess we don't see eye to eye. It's written on the walls, it's written on your face. You watch the world spin around from one place. Stood in your doorway, letting time pass. How long will you let this last? What a low blow. You wrote the scenes where you tossed me aside like I'm your old clothes.
We now turn to an artist called Soulless, which is spelled with a 5 instead of an S, which I suppose looks cool. Now, Soulless is an emerging artist working in this sort of space that blends darker pop, alternative rock, and shoegaze. Now, from the work I've heard, there is a strong emphasis on atmosphere that doesn't feel very confrontational. It's the kind of sound, I think, that prioritises mood over impact, which gradually draws you in instead of immediately hitting. She's not a very big artist. She's got less than about 5,000 monthlies on Spotify, so very underground and unknown compared to some of the other artists we've seen here. So if you want a pick that a lot of people wouldn't know about, Soulless might be for you. In her videos as well, on social media, which is how I found her, she appeared in my Instagram reels. Some of the hashtags she uses include artists she might take influence from sound-wise, being Imminence, who I would assume a lot of people have heard of, Amira El-Feki, who, if you didn't listen to the first episode of Under the Radar, we touched upon her, who makes very good music, and Violent Vera, who, again, another great artist we haven't touched upon yet, who could very well feature in a future episode. And I hear all three of those influences pretty clearly. For an artist with a relatively small following and profile, I think she's already done a job of establishing a sound that is unique to her, which helps her distinguish herself from other people that maybe sit in that space. And the song I'm going to play for her is one of her 2024 releases. This came out in August of 2024. This is Soulless with When I Die. We now turn to a band called Dark Divine. Now, Dark Divine are a band that have been on my radar since the end of 2022 with the release of their EP titled Halloween Town. Since then, they've released one album, which came out in 2023, titled Deadly Fun, with a deluxe version following in 2024. Deadly Fun, the deluxe edition, includes 4 new songs compared to the original album, 2 of which are completely new songs which released as singles, those being Burn the Witch and Digital Numb, and the other 2 songs on the deluxe version are reimagined versions of songs that were on the standard version. One of them being a song called Drown, which they turned into a synthwave version, which gives the song a full other life and sound, which is really cool. And the other one, which is the one we'll be playing in a moment, is a version of their song called Cold. Now, Cold, originally, not one of Dark Divine's heaviest songs. It's quite an emotional song, I think. And the version they done on the deluxe edition is a cinematic version, where it's just keyboard, like piano and vocals. And it gives it so much more power and emotion, I feel, and it's also a very good song that highlights the talent of their vocalist Anthony. Dark Divine have been fortunate enough to tour with bands like Creeper and Black Veil Brides, but they've still yet to get out of America. It's all been American tours. They've just announced a headline tour of their own in America, and I hope that they are able to make a trip somewhere over here in the near future. Anyway, this is Dark Divine with their cinematic version of Cold.
You're so cold. Whenever you're next to me, I start to lose hope. So tell me, do you hate me? words are contradictory to everything inside of me. There's nowhere left to hide when feelings creep into the outside. I never said what you did to me, because weakness is something that I never wanted you to see. But you'll always be a piece of my broken mind. It makes me feel numb inside. You're so cold. Whenever you're next to me, I start to lose hope. So tell me, do you hate me? These haunting memories, they're all that I can see. You love to watch me bleed, so tell me, do you hate me? Tell me, do you hate me? Tell me, do you hate me? I hope that you are satisfied by every single tear I cried. I couldn't breathe, and I didn't want to believe that you would ever want to hurt me. Make me feel like I'm not worthy. I feel so sick. I just wanna finally escape this piece of my broken mind. It makes me feel numb inside. You're so cold. Whenever you're next to me, I start to lose hope. So tell me, do you hate me? These haunting memories, they're all that I can see. You love to watch me bleed, so tell me, do you hate me? Tell me, do you hate me? Tell me, do you hate me? You said you try to take the best of me. You meant everything you said to me. What's left if I hate the rest of me? You try to take the best of me. You'll never take the best of me. You're so cold. Whenever you're next to me, I start to lose hope. So tell me, do you hate me? Haunting memories, they're all that I can see. You love to watch me bleed, so tell me, do you hate me?
Moving on from Dark Divine, and the band we briefly touched upon whilst talking about Dark Divine would be Creeper. Now, Creeper have carved out a very distinctive niche within the UK alternative scene over the past decade. They have been going for that long. You might know of them. What began as horror punk has evolved into something far more theatrical, incorporating elements of gothic rock, glam influences, and an almost cinematic style sense of presentation. They're one of those bands that feel bigger than a single genre, as much as the atmosphere and storytelling as they are about the music they make themselves. Their most recent release coming on October in 2025 called Sangovor 2, Mistress of Death, which is a follow-up to one of their other releases just simply titled Sangovor. I fortunately got a chance to see them support Ice Nine Kills at the Hydro in December, and they stole the show. I didn't really know much about them going into it. Obviously I knew the name, and I was pleasantly surprised with how good they were. They announced a UK tour in April where they'll be playing the Cat House, which all sold out very quick. So they must be doing something right. Here's Creeper with a song off of Sangovor 2, Mistress of Death. This is Creeper with Blood Magic.
4 shoots, 5 shoots. This is City Radio.
Moving on, we have a band called the Requiem. Now, the Requiem are a band that I don't know too much about. I originally came across them because one of their members is the vocalist of another band that I am a huge fan of, but it's not about them, so we'll keep it at that. As I said, they're a newer act who heavily draw from the emotional intensity of early 2000s emo and alternative rock. They are very similar to a band that you might have heard of called My Chemical Romance. So if you like My Chemical Romance, I think the Requiem are a more modern take on My Chem, and it's really, really great. They have one album called A Cure to Poison the World, which came out in 2024, and a deluxe edition that again came out the year following. The song I'm going to play is off of the original version of A Cure to Poison the World. This is the Requiem with I'll Be Late for My Funeral. Point of the show this week, and I think to move it forward we should look at not one but two local artists who are blending electronic elements into heavier styles of music. One of them is a lot closer to home than the other, and one of them is a lot bigger than the other. So we'll start first of all with Ayrshire's own Hope's Avenue. Now they have less than 3,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. So again, like Soulless, like very underground and maybe not very well known outside of like this area. They blend like post-hardcore, metalcore and pop punk. They formed in 2021 and released their debut EP Revive in March of 2023, which has had over 50,000 streams on all platforms to date. According to the vocalist, the EP was born out of the lockdown, and a lot of the songs have strong mental health themes which reflect how he thought we all felt during the time. It's had radio airplay. The lead single, has had radio airplay on BBC Radio 1 hit show BBC Introducing Rock in January of 2023. And their most recent song would be a cover of The Killers' Mr. Brightside. And before that, their most recent single of their own, which came out in July 2025, is titled Back to Me. Going down south, we'll be looking at a duo called Lake Malice, who again have the metal elements and the electronic elements, but theirs is a lot heavier. They take inspiration from Charlie XCX, hyper-pop, and even Japanese anime in places, which could maybe explain the tour they done with the Japanese band Hanabe in October and November of 2025. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play both songs of theirs back to back. We're going to start with Back to Me by Hope's Avenue and then go straight into Lake Malice with Eternal December. But first, here is Hope's Avenue with their track Back to Me.
Believe
You know what time it is.
This is City
Radio. Taking student radio to new levels.
Got it.
Number one student radio station in Scotland.
This is the new sound of City.
Next up on the list is Siamese. Now, Siamese bring a more polished, melodic approach to alternative metal. People who maybe aren't too familiar with the genre, a really easy gateway into it. They're a very beginner-friendly band without losing the intensity of what you would expect from a genre of that type. Originating from Denmark, they built a steadily growing international audience through constant touring and consistent releases, as well as festival appearances as well. They're scheduled to appear at Radar Festival in Manchester in late July, early August 2026. If you like this next release, I would highly recommend you go and see them. This is of their 2019 release, Superhuman. This is Siamese with their track, Ocean Bed. Taking a trip now over to France, we have Resolve. Now, Resolve are kind of part of the modern European metalcore scene, known for combining technical precision with emotionally driven songwriting. There's a lot of good bands coming out of France nowadays, especially in that metalcore scene. You think Resolve, you think Landmarks, maybe a band like Novelists, Rise of the North Star, then obviously you've got your big players in the likes of Gojira, etc, etc. A lot of good music coming out of France, if that's your thing. Now, Resolve's tracks often move between atmospheric passages with explosive sections, creating a good contrast and a very dynamic listening experience, rather than a constant wall of sound, which can be pretty common in the sort of heavier genres. That balance between melody and aggression has helped them stand out in an increasingly crowded genre, with a lot of very, very good bands in that genre they have to compete with. The song I'll be playing for Resolve is off their extended cut of their album Human, the extended cut releasing in October of 2024. This is Resolve with their track Smile.
There's a voice keeping you awake. Memories will never wash away. I guess it hurts as much as it helps, and you know we both feel the same way. We'll sail the waves, I'll take the ache. Whoever knows when I see you smiling from the ground, from the grave. Every eye on my face collides when I see you smiling. And we're singing alone the salvation serenade. We close, we hold different stories, the same page. A ship of worries way past the edge. Coming closer, I see through the veil. Just close your eyes and grab my hand. We'll fly away, I'll take the helm. Whoever knows when I see you smiling from the ground, from the grave. Every eye on my face collides when I see you smiling. And we're singing alone the salvation serenade. We close, we hold different stories, the same page. A ship of worries way past the edge. Coming closer, I see through the veil. Just close your eyes and grab my hand. We'll fly away, I'll take the helm. Whoever knows when I see you smiling from the ground, from the grave. Every eye on my face collides when I see you smiling.
We're now going to turn our attention to a band called See You Space Cowboy. Now, See You Space Cowboy take things in a far more chaotic direction than the songs we've listened to so far. They draw influence from early 2000s hardcore and screamo music, while maintaining a distinctly modern edge. Now, their music is intentionally unpredictable. It's fast, abrasive, and emotionally raw, prioritising intensity over polish. I personally think that nowadays music can sound too polished, and I think See You Space Cowboy, their choice to not make it sound overly polished really works, especially with this time periods and era of music that they are trying to take inspiration from and it sound like. It's not necessarily easy listening. It might be a song that you out there who's listening may hate every second of it, and if it is, I'm really sorry. But it's undeniably impactful, even if it's not your thing. I think we can all admit that. The song I'm going to be playing from them is from their 2024 release titled Coup de Grace. This is Sister with a Gun, coming up next.
4 shoots, 5 shoots. This is City Radio.
Take it back, and this dance we know too well. This never had to be the last thing that you said. Sister with the cat, crank the radio. She doesn't let us out, so we know where she goes. Sister with the cat, shut it all down. She doesn't have the home, she doesn't have the So I guess you never left due to the lies you crafted into this. You're so stitched like a patch in this emptiness. So I wish you never said we'd cut ties and come to this again. She takes the thread, it starts to unravel. Our marriage land, we're gonna cast now. When it's hot outside, the resting fallout. This last strong, you run away from everything you know. This armor made of cloth that won't stop the pending dissonance. Maybe a chance this could all turn on. And somehow it's torn apart. You've been left out to the elements. You sung this bird, it starts to unravel. Our marriage land, we're gonna cast now. Pull your side outside, the resting fallout. Tucking your chemistry, there is no side day. Just a blossom out and finish your vows. Tasteless strong.
Two more songs to go and you would have survived the hour. We're gonna now take a trip up to Sweden and look at Imminence. Now, compared to some of the heavier music we've looked at both this week and the last time we done this show, Imminence offers something quite distinctive within heavier music. It's not electronics, it's not anything along those lines. It's orchestration. They incorporate orchestral elements, most notably violin alongside traditional metal instrumentation. Their vocalist Eddie is an incredible violin player, and the fact he can do that while singing is really, really cool, and it's not something I see a lot of. This results in a cinematic sound, I should say, that can shift from delicate to crushing within seconds. Also down to Eddie's incredible vocal ability to go between cleans and screaming. It really emphasises the emotional scale as much as it does the physical heaviness. They're a band that have just had their big break in recent years. They're playing Download this year. They've played in Glasgow. They've toured America. When they played here, they played in the Garage, the big venue of the Garage. So they are big and they have made a name for themselves. But it maybe hasn't. It's not always been that way. It's not been that way for every band. Their most recent album came out in 2024, titled The Black. But that's a lie. The Black is their second most recent album. They released an album last year called The Return of the Black, which essentially was just the Black album with a couple of extra songs and guest vocalists on already existing songs. Some of the names being Scott Kennedy from Bleed From Within, if you know them. As well as many others that I won't get into because I aren't the focus. The song we're going to look at is a song called Death by a Thousand Cuts. We're going to look at the original version just because we're highlighting Imminence, but the guest feature on the new version of that is Lucas Woodland from a band called Holding Absence, who are an incredible post-hardcore band who we could feature in a future episode if that is something that you would like to hear. It's an incredible song, both versions, but I think this time we'll just stick with the original and you can hear Eddie and Imminence. Without further ado, here is Death by a Thousand Cuts by Imminence.
There's no escape from the thoughts inside my head. Dark days just taking the best of me. I can't go on like this. This life has cut me by my knees. There's no cure to the disease. I come to live with the pain. Can you turn back time? I can't
The first artist in Under the Radar that we deem to be lost to time, and that would be a band called Picture Me Broken. Now, Picture Me Broken released one album in 2010 and one EP in 2012. They were a female-fronted sort of post-hardcore band, and they were fortunate enough to be the sole opener in the Marilyn Manson Alice Cooper co-headlining tour. Whether or not that could be the reason that they've just kind of slowly died off since then. Maybe there was too much expected of them afterwards. That would be a real shame if that was the case, but it could be very likely with how well known those two performers are. I will leave you with Dearest I'm So Sorry by Picture Me Broken, arguably their most popular song. And with that comes the end of this instalment of Under the Radar. Thank you so much for listening, and until next time, goodbye.
Innocent as morals aren't so well defined. You're here again. The rush begins, a line of joy and suicide. I can't find the words to say this. I'm running out of patience. Dearest, I'm so sorry you're disturbed. You know I'd hang on every word. With each breath you take, I think I've learned. Careful, you might get burned. Tears tug at the corners of my eyes. I won't let them go this time. You're here again. The rush begins, a line of joy and suicide. I can't find the words to say this. I'm running out of patience. Dearest, I'm so sorry you're disturbed. You know I'd hang on every word. With each breath you take, I think I've learned. Careful, you might get burned.
was Picture Me Broken with Dearest I'm So Sorry. A very good way to end the show. Yes, I'm back. I know I said I would my goodbyes before that song came on, but we have a little bit more time before we have to bring this to a close. Next week, I'll let you in as a little secret for you staying this long, we will be talking about an artist that we briefly touched upon when talking about Resolve. We'll be looking at, again, some maybe more softer things at the start. There'll be a couple of covers in there as well. And we'll be finishing that episode off with a certain song from 2008 that may and may not have become a staple in a certain genre